Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Sachin Karnik here from the Angel Wing LLC. Today is the 12th of March, 2024. We are beginning week number 10 in our Personal Transformation Online program. Please be aware of the disclaimer statement that we have in all the slides at the very beginning. If there are any questions about this statement, please do contact the Angel Wing LLC by email, or you may contact me also, and I'll give you additional information as needed. Okay, so, and please do keep in mind that every week it is recommended that you have the 2 workbooks or notebooks. We have vitamin M envelope, 1 3x5 card per week. You may also want to have a drawing pad. If you don't want to draw the pictures in the workbooks, it's up to you. Some colored markers, highlighters are also optional, and they're good to have. Okay. We're going to begin with our grounding meditation, and then we'll continue from that point. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are beginning week number 10. Once again, many, many thanks for your dedication and participation in this online program. We are continuing to further expand on point number 6, which is unobstructed and undisturbed energy flow that we have been talking about. And then last 3 weeks, the next 3 weeks will be on point number 7. So what I'd like you to do, please open workbook number 1, okay, and put today's date on there. And again, please write down this statement in yellow that you see: unobstructed and undisturbed energy flow creates a powerful foundation for limitless possibilities. This is the same statement you probably have written last 2 weeks. And we're going to talk about this further from another angle. We have a nice exercise to do. Then we'll get into it. So take your time with this. If at any point you feel that I'm going too fast or you need more time, just unmute yourself and just let me know. It's perfectly okay. Please try to hold any detailed questions until 9 p.m., where we can have more detailed conversation. Okay, so don't write anything else down at this point other than the yellow statement. Unobstructed and undisturbed energy flow creates a powerful foundation for limitless possibilities. This is a very basic truth that applies to all of us, and we want to experience this. Is this actually true? We will know this by experience more than anything else. Take your time. Okay, very good. Give you another moment or so. And you can always put that as a header. This is our theme. We're continuing on this theme this week also. Please do remember, this is just a quick reminder of the concept of energy flow. That's the general concept you see in the first bullet point. You know, energy is all around us, from the sun to the moon to the stars, in our system, in our body. Electricity is energy. Similarly, there's personal energy. We have our own individualized energy. We just have it. It's there. We eat food 3 times a day, maybe more. That's where we get the energy from, right? So it's very simple to understand, and we know that that's there, and we also know that it flows. The energy flows with it. So we're going to do a visualization. It's a mapping exercise. If you have a drawing book that you're using, that's fine. Otherwise, you can just use workbook number 1. For this is perfectly fine. And then you can do this as a homework exercise this week also, and spend some more time with it. But we'll get the process started. So title today's drawing as illustrating my energy circuit. You'll notice the drawing that is shown there, that's a circuit board. Just as we have a circuit board with electricity flowing through there, it's been designed and whatnot, that allows for electronics to run. You know, so similarly, we're going to make some energy circuits and some drawing. We're going to make a nice drawing about our own energy circuit. Just an FYI, if you're using a phone, you may want to turn your phone horizontally to see the slides better, so you can see them in a little broader sense, but it's up to you. Okay, so write this as a title, Illustrating My Energy Circuit. This is our online exercise, and you can do more detailed version of this as a homework exercise this week. Okay. So after you've written that as a title, so hopefully you have some blank space there to make this diagram. You're going to draw your energy circuit. So begin by drawing a large circle to represent your energy circuit. Inside the circle, sketch a small circle to symbolize yourself, or like make a small symbol, like something like this, you know? So again, this is just colorfully drawn, but you can just make one big circle and then draw a smaller circle within, make a little figure inside, or you can just put your name in the middle there. That's perfectly okay also, right? So that's how we begin. We begin with this large circle that represents your energy circuit. So that larger circle is your energy circuit. Okay. And then just make a smaller circle within, make a small figure in there, or you can just write your name in there. So after you've done that, we want to illustrate. The next activity here is to illustrate the various aspects, meaning what? Around the small circle, draw symbols or small pictures to represent the different activities that your energy empowers. So this could include a book for studying, a soccer ball for sports, a musical note for playing instruments, etc. So here's a small example of that. Let's see if I can open this here. Let's see, it's trying to open that slide. So you're drawing it around the small circle, the different activities that are powered by your energy. Just make sure you understand the concept pretty well. For example, you see a book. If you're going to read a book, well, you cannot read a book without energy. So energy is being used to power reading. Energy is being used to throw a football. Energy is being used to play an instrument. Right? So this is just a representation. Studying, playing an instrument, playing sports, talking to friends, to any activity. There's so many activities we do. So all you're doing here is starting to draw some small symbols or pictures that represent different activities that your energy, or you can say that my energy, empowers. No action occurs without energy. So write a couple of things down, major actions, major activities down that are empowered by one's energy, right? So even if you're watching a TV show, that it requires energy, right? Obviously. So this is an illustrative way to understand this. This is not something we don't know. We already know all this. It's just a matter of being aware of it. And then from there, we'll be able to take it further. Right? So that's the second part of the picture in the same diagram. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. Now the third part here is to identify and draw blocks. So now think about what might block your personal energy flow. So draw these obstacles or barriers on the lines connecting to your activities. They may be represented by storm clouds for stress, a bed for lack of sleep, junk food for unhealthy eating habits, or you can write it down if you want to make a small bubble around it. You can do it that way. A lot of ways of going about it. This is just another illustration here that you can see of how you could potentially do something like this. You can make some cloud, or you can make, like a bed for lack of sleep, or make a lightning bolt that could represent something, or unhealthy eating habit. You can make a little diagram, or you can just write. If you don't want to make a diagram, that's fine. You can just write it down. Make it the way you want, but try to put in there these points. That the bigger circle is the energy circuit. All those symbols are where you are using your energy, your major areas of life. And then to identify the blocks, right? So draw these obstacles or barriers on the lines connecting you to your activity. You're in the center. Your activity is, it's within that bigger circle, all activities. And then you're making your drawing that shows where are some of the blocks or barriers. And again, this is something you'll need to think about some more, right? So you can do it as a homework exercise, and you can really make a really nice, more elaborate drawing for yourself. And if you ever want to share it with our Angel Wing group during a retreat or something, you can always bring it in, and certainly do that if you want to. And at some point, I would really want to get teenagers and kids involved in this stuff also. It's a lot of fun to do. Okay. Nice and easy. Now, the next thing to do here is to highlight unobstructed flow paths. Understand it first, then you can do it. Identify activities where you feel your energy flow. Identify activities where you feel your energy flows freely, and color or highlight these paths brightly. All right, so where is it flowing freely? Maybe let's say with family, your activities are going really well, it's flowing freely. So if that's the case, then color that in maybe the way that you may want to. This could be activities where you're feeling more alert, engaged, productive. You can color it because you've written certain activities already there. So if there's no obstruction there, that means that it's flowing pretty well. Hopefully it's flowing pretty well. This is just a colorful way of representing that. Yeah. And again, these slides will be available for you later on. Right? So these are, so in this part of the exercise, you are drawing bright colors that really show the free flow without obstruction. That there isn't an obstruction in the flow of energy, which also means time and other things that connect with that. All right, okay, now there's two more parts here for this drawing. So take your time with this, and you'll have to think about this some more. I mean, we're just getting the process started. Try to do this exercise as a homework exercise. I would suggest you use a nice, like a drawing pad or drawing, like a mini poster board, or at least like a good size blank paper, and with some colored pens and maybe markers, and really sit with this exercise. So take some time with it. Don't rush through it. Okay, now the next part is to add solutions. Next, add brainstorming ways. Brainstorm ways you can remove these blocks or obstacles to achieve unobstructed flow. So what could they be? And I'm going to provide in audio form and in the podcast more guidance on how to do this exactly. What are some general guidelines for this? Right now, we're just starting this process of identifying these blocks and removing them. So brainstorm ways you can remove these blocks and obstacles to achieve, what is the goal? Unobstructed energy flow. So for example, a pillow for getting more sleep. Keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. An apple for healthier eating habits. You can write it if you want also. Or a smiley face for maintaining a positive attitude. Draw these next to the corresponding blocks. So you've drawn some blocks where the blockages are, and then draw next to that what the solutions may be. Maybe you know what they are, maybe you don't know. If you don't know the solution, just make a question mark by it. I'll get back to that later on. Again, remember, this is something that we don't generally do, is to sit with ourselves, look at ourselves, and go through this exercise for self-development. Right? Very good. And once you've done that, and again, this is going to take some time. You could spend a good hour doing this. I mean, this is not, you can make a really beautiful drawing and really identify pieces. All these drawings that we've done so far and that we will do, they are for homework assignments also, to really get into it. And you'll see the benefit it has for you. Okay. And once you've done this, is to reflect, finally look at your drawing and reflect on the different paths of energy, the blocks you've identified, the solutions you've thought of. This visual representation can help you better understand your energy flow and how you can manage it effectively. It's just a visual way to see the flow of energy, blockages, unobstructions, obstructions. Nice and easy. Right? It's a diagrammatic way of going about this. So this is just a diagram that kind of shows this idea, that you're visualizing where obstructions are, reflecting on the energy circuit. And you can make this into a much more elaborate diagram. And we're going to provide later on more supplementary materials for all the weeks that we have already gone through, so, for people who are interested in doing more detailed work on these exercises. Right? Okay. So you've taken a step back so far. Now, take a step back and look at the drawing you made. Just made one drawing. Reflect on the journey from your current state, through the changes in your desires. So this is something to do during the week, to reflect on this. So it's a method to kind of express yourself diagrammatically. Now, just listen to this for a moment as you are going through this process. Harmonious mind stream, the path of seamless thought energy. Undisturbed energy flow means that there are no disruptions or changes in the path of the energy. Remember, we have energy, we have feelings, we have emotions, we have actions we're performing. Nothing happens without energy. We know that we keep saying that. But there are disruptions in our lives. Definitely there are. And there are going to be until and unless we take steps to actively deal with those disruptions and get rid of those disruptions. So undisrupted energy flow means, what does it mean that there are no disruptions or changes in the path of energy flow? For example, in a stream of water flowing downhill, if there are no rocks or obstacles, the water will flow steadily and undisturbed. In the context of thought energy, thought, emotion, etc., but thought is what we're talking about right now. In the context of thought energy, a clear and focused mind can lead to undisturbed energy flow, allowing one to engage in a task without distractions. This is the key. When we are deliberately applying our mind to a particular task, to a particular activity, I'm just going to stop the screen share just for a moment to talk about this a bit. When we are deliberately performing an action, any action, we cannot perform any action until and unless we are using our thinking ability. Our thinking ability is our cognitive ability for deciding, planning, for taking the steps to achieve a certain goal. But we want to be able to think and then act upon as we are thinking without disturbance of energy flow. So in your notebook, number 1, write this point down. Write a couple of bullet points. I'm going to give you a couple of bullet points here. Thought without disturbance. First bullet point. Thought without disturbance. We all think, me, you, everybody. But we notice that as we are thinking, sometimes we are just thinking through disturbances, with disturbances. Recognize disturbance, pull away from it. What happens if there is an obstacle or disturbance? See it for what it is and find a way out of it. What does that mean exactly? Well, you find a way out of it by seeing the range of possibilities and then deciding on how to come out of it. For example, if I'm simply, sitting too much. Take a very simple example. I'm sitting too much, and I know that I'm just feeling I'm not feeling 100% energy flow. I need to get up and move around and walk around. But if I don't feel like doing that. That feeling is an obstruction. That feeling obstructs my energy. So I recognize it, and I do not give it any more energy, that feeling. I do not stay with that feeling. I've recognized that it's a feeling that doesn't serve me. I deliberately get up and move around. Even if I don't feel like doing so, I do it nonetheless. Because that is how I decide to move out of the obstruction. The only way to break through an obstruction is to take the right step that you have decided using your mind, that this is the right thing. I know it's the right thing. Even though I don't feel like doing it, even though there's obstruction, doesn't matter. I'm going to do it anyway. And before you know it, the feeling will change within a few moments sometimes. Right? So our thinking capacity, our cognitive capacity has decisional power. So next bullet point, write down. There is something called decisional balance. So my right decisions are my power. You can write that down. The right decisions equals right energy flow. Even the decision is made by the intellect. So when I make a decision that I'm going to get up and do 5 minutes of walking or movement because I've been sitting in one place for a long time. It's a very simple example. This happens with all of us probably. It happens even in the evening time, even if you come home from work and all that and sitting around a lot. It still happens. So it is the follow through on your decisions. And that follow through has to do with first recognizing obstruction and then without delay taking steps to break through the obstruction. Don't delay it. Do not delay. That delay increases that tendency to remain in that not so good place, emotionally, intellectually. So if a decision is made, let's use the example of reading. If a decision is made that I'm going to read 25 pages of a book, you notice what happens. Start reading, maybe 3 pages go by, 4 pages go by, and then the desire changes. Oh, I want to do something else now. I don't need to read this now. I'm getting bored. I'm violating my own decision. So next bullet point, I will not violate my own decisions. This is what we do. And when we stop doing that, we gain mastery over the mind. We gain more balance. We break through obstruction. See, we create our own obstructions to a large extent. Sachin has decided to read 25 pages of a book, let's say, whatever it is, some particular book, let's say in psychology, something that interests me. All right, I decided to read 25 pages, sitting in one place for whatever period of time it takes. I get to 15 pages. I get to 20 pages. I might even get to 23 pages. It's okay. No, catch yourself. Immediately catch yourself and say, no, that's not, I'm going to follow through on my decision. My own mind, which is going in some other direction because of my desires, it doesn't need to go there. I'm going to tame it back, pull it back, and make sure I follow with what I have decided. And when we do that, when we actually do that, something remarkable tends to happen, and it does happen. What is it that's remarkable that happens? We begin to have much more clear and focused and better quality of energy. There's amazing stuff that happens with these little things, but they're not little things actually. That's the wrong way to understand this. Even something like, saying that before I go to bed, I'm going to make sure that my kitchen is clean. There's no dishes left over. There's nothing, doesn't matter how late it is, whatever it is, I'm not leaving any dirty dishes. I'm going to put this in dishwasher, start the dishwasher. So when I get up in the morning, I have a nice, clean kitchen. Now, everybody would agree that sounds very nice. How often does that really happen? Probably in all of our lives, we have dishes that pile up and say, no, I don't feel like doing it. But now somebody could say, what if you've decided that I'm going to leave the dishes like that for 3 days? Then that's your decision. Then do that if you think that's the right thing to do. It's probably not. But I don't think anybody would make a decision like that I'm just going to leave these dirty dishes like this for a whole week or whatever. Let it smell and let it do this and that. And that's my decision. Well, if that's your decision, that's your decision. But I don't think that happens. What we want is a clean kitchen. These are small things, but they're not small. Please don't think that they're small. They're absolutely not small. Even your workspace. Is it clean? Is it well organized? Your laundry, your clothing. Start by getting your room, your kitchen, your home organized. And I mean, that sounds simple to say. This is one of our dimensions. Start working on it. It doesn't happen instantaneously, and many people get really frustrated by saying, oh my God, I have this cleaning to do. Basement is a mess. This is a mess. I don't want to do anything. They just start seeing all the stuff that has to be done. So they get overwhelmed by thinking about that. Now you don't want to do anything. And they just sit in front of the TV and say, I'll do it later. It'll happen later. Procrastination. Next bullet point, I will not procrastinate this week. Absolutely not. Don't procrastinate. Don't delay. I'm telling myself this. I'm not even telling all of you this. This applies to me first, Sachin here. We're doing this together. But the only way Sachin can reach self-mastery eventually is first by following these principles, by follow through, because the delays that we create damage energy flow. So write that bullet point next. My delays damage my energy flow. There's no question about that. And it's a conflict that occurs between our decisions, which is intellect or thought, and what we feel like doing at that time. And remember, now next, write this bullet point next. Feelings are mine. I am not my feelings. Write this down next. Make it very clear. The feelings are experiences we're having. We are not our feelings. They are an experience in our mind, in our psychological consciousness. Feelings change, but feelings can eventually harmonize and they will synchronize. We're going to talk more about that in the next 13 weeks, and then throughout this year, we're going to talk about that. This first 13 week is a primer only. There's a lot of amazing stuff coming up. But make sure this is clear. Write this down. And if you have questions about this, or if you have comments at 9 o'clock, we can talk about it, or other times also, that feelings are not me. Feelings are mine. You can write it however you want. Feelings are an experience we are having. And they keep changing. When Sachin makes a decision that, I'm going to read that 25 pages of this book, after about 4 or 5 pages, my feelings change. My feeling says, no, I want to read something else. No, I want to get up. No, I want to do this. No, I want to do that. I know this is boring. I don't like this subject. I am in violation of my own decision. My feelings are taking me in a different direction. Now, I'm not trying to say one needs to be rigid, but one needs to recognize the power of following through, which disciplines our life. So the next bullet point I want you to write down is, I am going to discipline my life. Nobody else can discipline. It's like when we wake up in the morning and we all brush our teeth, hopefully. Nobody else is going to brush our teeth for us. Sounds ridiculous to say this even. Who's going to brush our teeth? We have to. Who's going to brush them well? We have to. 99%, 99.9999999% of self-development we have to do. That little bit that is remaining, that is simply guidance, that's a little bit. That's what we're doing here. That's just the guidance. The activity is everything. Application is everything. Talk is cheap. Anybody can talk. I mean, a lot of people can talk. And I'm telling myself this. I'm not telling anybody else this. Talk is very easy, relatively. I mean, it can be easy. You can practice it and talk. So what? Right? It's the application, the right application at the right time. Wonderful. There's a lot more to be said, but remember this thing about, I just want you to please remember that the feelings we have, they keep shifting. We don't have mastery over our feelings. We're not that evolved yet. We will be. At some point, as we go through this process, our feelings, our emotional state will remain very steady and stable. Very, very clear. It'll be a very integrated state of emotion. Most people don't have that. That's why they suffer. That's why there's trouble in the world, because of this one big reason is this. The integration of emotion is lacking. All right, so we're going to get into it further, but right now, for this week, all we are going to try to do, and we're going to do this to the best of our ability, follow through on the right decisions. We've already talked about making a Google Calendar. We've talked about creating the right schedule. Doing all of that is fine. Now it's just a matter of follow through. And the more we follow through, the more balance is going to come about. You'll see that, not because I'm saying so. You'll see it yourself. Okay, wonderful. Now we are at the halfway point. Just a couple of minutes. We have gone further. There's a bunch of other slides here. You can look at that later on. And we're going to do a quick movement break. Then we'll go to the second part of our presentation today.
I'm so glad you're joining us for a quick movement break. You should aim to integrate movement into your workday at least every 30 minutes of uninterrupted sitting time.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Please do open workbook number 2 at this point. And please, I hope you are keeping track of your numbers on a week-to-week basis. Just give your best number per week. And it's just your determination. If you need help with that, please do let me know. And we are going to be creating more information on this, but without overwhelming people too much. We just want to make sure that you're able to select a number from 0 to 10 regarding these 12 dimensions as we've talked about before. So hopefully that's going well. And let's see here. Let's keep moving on forward. We have an exercise to do here today. We're going to talk for the next 25 minutes or so about family and relationships, right? So what I'd like you to do is in workbook number 2, put today's date on top and put in there dimension number 5, family and relationships. Okay, so this area relates with, this has to do with relationships with families, friends, significant others, etc. So we have an exercise to do here, the family tree. It's a drawing exercise. And the objective is this exercise is designed to visualize family structure and relationships, encouraging reflection on the dynamics and connections within our family. Okay, so you need ideally a large sheet of paper, but you can use workbook number 2 for now. Markers, colored pens, things like that. Pencils are good. Okay, so to begin with, we're going to draw a family tree. So start by drawing a tree on a large sheet of paper. The tree's roots will represent the oldest known generation of your family, grandparents or great-grandparents. And each subsequent branch will represent the next generation, parents, you, your siblings, children, etc. So do this now. So start by drawing a tree on a sheet of paper. You can use workbook 2 for that, no problem. The tree's roots will represent the oldest known generations. All right, so as you're drawing the tree, then you can add family members, write each family member's name on the tree according to their generation and lineage. You can represent each family member as a leaf on the tree. Okay, so this is, again, a homework exercise to try to do in more detail this week. But for the time being, just get the process started, please. Yeah, so you make a nice tree. That's a fun exercise. Add your family members. And you add the members' names on the tree according to their generation and lineage. Okay, so the tree's roots are the oldest known generations, and then subsequent branches will represent generations. So you can, it's a growth right from below. If you know the significant dates, write them down, like birth dates, marriages, when people may have passed away, things like that, next to each person. So this is going to take some time, obviously, depending on how many people are there in your family, how many siblings there are, or how many grandparents, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can make a really nice, elaborate diagram. This is about dimension 5, to raise awareness about the dimension and what it entails. So we want to first raise awareness about all the family members that are present. And we want the best quality relationships with everybody in the family. Everybody needs that. Everybody should want that even. Right? So So hopefully we got those 3 points down, and take some time with it. I'll give you another minute or so to just start the process. And again, like I said, you'll have these slides, you'll have the recording, you'll have the audios, you'll have everything you need to revisit this further. But I would strongly recommend you do this as a homework exercise. It will bring a lot of peace of mind and more awareness and love also. Right? So we want to have a lot of love in the family, not harmful entanglements. We've talked about that before. We'll talk a lot more about it later on. Okay, very good. So next point number 4 is to use color pens or pencils. If you don't have color pen, it's okay. You can use your pen that you're using to represent different elements of your relationship. For example, you might use green to highlight positive, nurturing relationships, red for strained or difficult relationship, blue for neutral or distant relationships, and yellow for relationships you want to improve. So it's better to have different colors to do this. If you don't have different colors, you can maybe use different marks, or maybe you can just write these words down, that improve, or it's positive or negative, or you can write those words and just circle them for now, and then do the color coding later on. But to really see this properly, you should really use color pens or pencils to do this, or color markers or highlighters. That will really allow you to see where the relationships are. And sometimes you're not sure, so it's a kind of mixture, then put mixed relationship, right? But use colored pens or pencils to represent different elements of the relationship. For example, if you have 2 kids, then if they're very positive and nurturing, then you can just use the color green for that and make a little legend on the left or at the bottom. Make a real nice picture. Take some time with this. This is time spent with yourself. This is not being graded. You're not turning anything into angel wing. We're not judging you. You have to judge yourself. That's what self-mastery is about. The people who are online now, or those who might be listening to this later on, you've taken time out of your day, out of your precious, time is precious. You've taken time to do this. So why not do it properly? Take your time with it and don't rush through it. Right? Okay, so the next thing is to incorporate symbols. A lot of fun, a lot of nice symbols can be incorporated. Incorporate symbols to represent significant events or shared experiences. For example, you might draw a small star to represent a joyful event, something that really pops up in your mind. A cloud, a rain cloud for difficult period, or intertwined rings for marriage. Or other symbols. Lots of symbols are available. So draw them if you can, or maybe write it in language if you want, but I would recommend making some symbol out of it. Something that reminds you. Maybe you went for a trip on a vacation to Disney World or something. I don't know, make a Mickey Mouse symbol or something. Make it simple, make it fun. But there's going to be some difficult stuff there too. So again, this is going to take some time. If you really want to do this properly, which we would recommend, use like a mini poster board, medium size or even large size if you want. Medium size is good, and make a proper drawing. Really spend some time with this week. I'm not going to know if you did this or not unless you tell me, but this is your own commitment to yourself and for family relationship development. Okay, so now there's one more point here. Use sticky notes to write down thoughts, feelings, or memories associated with each family member. You can also note down any patterns or observations you've noticed within the family or family dynamics. Now, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can put sticky notes on the diagram. You can actually, make other bubbles or other colors. You can also write a paragraph in workbook number 2. This is an ongoing set of notes. Those of you who are taking notes, since I know that some of you are, that's a great thing to do. As much you can write down about what you need to do, about where you are, it is like a mirror. You can see yourself. Just as we stand in front of a mirror every day, when we put on, some people put on powder or makeup or they're shaving, or we look at mirrors, I think nearly every day. Similarly, these exercises are a mirror for us. They're very simple to do, but they do require some time to really sit and do it properly. And it can provide a lot of peace of mind and benefit to do this. Okay. Okay. And then, so once you've done this, remember, after each diagram, spend some time reflecting on it throughout the week. Go back to it and say, okay, let me look at this diagram. Let me look at what's happening. Let me write some things down. Let me you can even make voice recordings for yourself. I do that a lot, actually. And it's a very nice thing to do. You don't need to share it with anybody unless you really want to. You don't need to. These are voice recordings, notes you're making for yourself. It's easy to make voice recordings on using your phone. You can always get fairly inexpensive voice recorder, and it's a lot of fun. And you can easily upload it and save them. And, if you're doing it on your phone, you can save those recordings. There's ways of doing that. If you need help with that, I can certainly help you out with that. Right? So this is about taking time out to directly see yourself. Reflect on these exercises. It's very straightforward. I mean, a 7th grader, 8th grader can do this. And I would suggest that kids should do this also on their, on their own or with the family. But I want to get kids involved in this. Okay. There's a couple of homework questions here. So this is for the family dynamics diagram. So write these questions down, please. There's 5 questions that I would like you to answer this week. And you can write the answers in workbook number 2. You can also record them. I would recommend you write them down, or you have them saved somewhere in the computer or wherever. Write these questions down. Okay, these are homework questions. What patterns or dynamics do I observe? As you're making the family tree, making the nice diagram, what patterns do I observe? What dynamics do I observe? First question. Which relationships are strong and positive? That should say which, actually. Or you can say what if you want, but I think it's which ones need improvement? Take your time and write it and give you some time to write these questions down. Just write the questions only for now, and then the answers you can write on your own. Please try to do this week. You'll find a lot of benefit in it. Are there any surprising discoveries or insights about my family structure? As you make the family diagram, there's all kinds of feelings that are going to come up. They're going to come up. There's memories that are going to come up. Some people may have passed away, like sometimes parents or grandparents, But there's memories, there's feelings. That's fine. Let it come and let it be part of the structure. Is there love? I would put it to you this way. The goal is to bring about absolute, just pure love. Everybody has faults. Everybody has mistakes that they have made. Nobody's perfect in life. We are not perfect. Don't expect perfection from others. Right? So next question there is, how do these relationships or dynamics impact my life and well-being? These are big questions. You can write big essays on this. This is a matter of reflection. There are relationships with everybody in the family in some way or another. In some unfortunate situations, relationships might be broken. People have not spoken to each other for years. It happens. What to do about that? So Angel Wing is going to give guidelines on this as we move ahead about how to go through a process of healing and really connecting again. And the act of forgiveness, act of letting go, is very, very important in life. If we don't do that, we cannot be free, really. We'll not reach self-mastery otherwise. We get stuck. This family dimension is a massively important dimension. We are born in a family. We have a family. We are always going to have a family. So what steps can I take to improve, maintain, or change these relationships? That's the billion-dollar question right there. What can I do? Many times we're expecting other people to make all the changes. Maybe they have to make them. Maybe they do. That's true. But what can I do? What responsibility can I take? And see, this is all about that flow of energy without resistance, without obstruction, without friction. As we have been saying, this is a massive area, family dynamics, where there's all kinds of obstruction in most people. And there's ways of coming out of it. Right now, we're just trying to raise the awareness. As we move ahead, there's much more detailed activity to be done to really enhance this area. But these 5 questions are a starting point for the family dynamics dimension, family relationships dimension. And please be patient. Please be very steady. And I would strongly suggest, and it is my prayer to all of you, that please be objective, be unbiased. That's very hard in family. We have so much bias, it's absolutely unbelievable. That doesn't help. Be unbiased, be objective, be forgiving, be very steady. Decide, what can I do? Think about this carefully to improve the relationship. The quality of tolerance is also needed. It's, so there's quite a bit involved in this. We're just getting the process started. But remember, each of you who are doing this, you are looking at it directly for your life. You're not giving this information to Angel Wing. We're not collecting anything. We're not grading anybody. We're just asking you to keep track of these numbers. And at the end, we'll just ask you to, turn in your number if you want. And so we know kind of as an average where people were. That's all. That's the only information we'll get. So these 5 questions are the beginning of how to improve family life. And remember, in my mind, I've shared it with you many, many times, and I'll share it with you many, many times further. There is a very big difference between real love and entangled attachment, harmful attachment. These are very different. They're not the same. And it's very difficult to separate, what is that separation? It's difficult for people to realize that, but I will do the best I can in my mind to share that with you. You will have to look at it yourself and see if it makes any sense to you. Okay. And then, of course, to reflect on what you've written by actively participating and reflecting on this exercise, you will gain a deeper understanding of your family structure relationship, leading to increased self-awareness and an opportunity to foster healthier family dynamics. Obviously, that's our goal. All right. Now, what I'd like you to do at this point, 3x5 card. And remember, those 2 exercises you've got to do this week, please do them with patience and with compassion to yourself. Then do them. We have principle number 10 this week, that is attention. Please write this down on 3x5 card. I'll give you some time for that as I read through this. Attention is a fundamental cognitive process that enables individuals to selectively focus on specific aspects of their internal or external environment while filtering out irrelevant information. The ability to effectively manage one's attention is crucial for personal growth, as it allows individuals to engage fully with their experiences, maintain focus on their goals, and navigate complex social situations. I know it's a mouthful, it's a lot of words. Don't worry about trying to unpack the whole thing here. Write it down, and just to read this one time before having a meal. You don't have to even think about it. Just read it one time. And we're going to get back to it later on. You'll see that we have 52 such principles that we have identified. Okay, so there's a principle for every single week, and a whole year will go in this, and then a lot of probing in this will occur. Many of our retreats are also based on these principles. So if you want to take some time and think about it or do something with this, that's fine. Right now, all we're asking you to do is to simply read this one time before having each meal, the 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Just keep the card with you and read it one time and then have your meal. That's all. Easy, nice and easy. Now, as you're writing this down, I'll just make a couple of quick comments about this. Attention is different from concentration. Although the word focus is in here, attention is really more about deliberately placing your mind in an activity. So we talked about a little bit about that before today also, that you're putting your mind in a specific activity, and then you're not going to deviate from that. So that's part of it. We're filtering out irrelevant information. Like if Sachin is going to decide to read 25 pages of a book, other things might come in the mind, other distractions might be there. I'm filtering it out so I can keep my attention there. And then you can say concentration, but it's not, it's a little different. It's like just being present with the activity. That's really what attention is. It's selective focus. So yeah, focus concentration is kind of part of this definition, but in my mind, I would think of it more as like a decision you've made to keep your mind in a particular direction. Then we can say focus and concentration. We can use that language if we want. So it's okay. Hopefully you've written this down. If you need more time, let me know. We are very much on time today. I'm trying to stick to our 1 hour limit here. See, time management is very important, you know. So if you need more time, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next slide.
Yes, more time.
Okay, sure. No problem. Take your time. It's good to write this. You know, the writing is a whole brain activity. And so attention is amazing. We're going to have actually for each of these principles, Angel Wing will have, without charge, free books available. Books meaning they'll be ebooks. They'll be in PDF format. If you want to purchase the physical book, you'll have that available for a low dollar amount, like $2 or $3, something like that, you know, online on Amazon in the future sometime. Hopefully we'll get that done probably next year sometime, in the next sequence, as we go to the next stage in the next year, right? So a lot of fun stuff is there. But remember, this is all application. Then we want to think about this, have conversations. We are going to have retreats on these principles also, as we have been having. Okay. One more comment on this point about attention, and that is simply that it has to do with decision. When Sachin here decides, I'm deciding to spend an hour doing this particular activity, that's a cognitive process, you know, and I'm going to selectively focus. I'm going to focus on the environment, on what I'm going to do. That's the essence of this. Okay, good. So hopefully you're done at this point. I'll move on. Okay, this is a sentence completion exercise. You can do this on your own. I'll just keep it as an optional one because you've got other things to do also. But if you want to do this, I would recommend you do this. It's just a simple sentence completion exercise that even a 7th grader could do, right? Attention is a basic blank process that helps people to blank on certain details. You know, simple, just to fill in the blank kind of thing. If you want to do it, you can do it. I'll keep it optional this time. Okay, and please remember that the central concept, read this one time every day. Maybe just after you wake up or before going to sleep, or put it on your refrigerator. Read this sentence one time daily. And that our entire program, the journey up to personal excellence, is based on this one, these couple of sentences written here. This is the central concept. It should say week number 10. That's a mistake there in the slide. I'll fix that later. Okay, in the vitamin M envelope, please put a fixed amount of money in there every week. This money you're not going to be turning into us. You're going to be using it as a vitamin M in week 12 and 13. I'm going to show you how to do that exactly. We'll talk more about that. That's coming up very soon. Okay, so make sure you put some money in there, and please don't use the money you've put inside there. It's to teach the concept of how to use money as a vitamin. There's a wonderful book written by one of our presenters, Mr. Singh. Ricky Singh has written a book called Vitamin M for Body, Mind, and Soul. It's a very, very nice publication. So that's available for free on his website. And I'll put the links on there also when we get to that point in our presentation. Okay, now we have our closing song here, then we'll get into our Q&A session.